Have you ever wondered how a community holds on to who they are when they're scattered and under all kinds of pressure? Well, today we're going to dive into three incredible but maybe lesser known books from the Apocrypha. We're talking about the Wisdom of Solomon, Greek Esther, and 3 Maccabees. And trust me, these aren't just dusty old texts. They're basically literary survival kits, and each one gives a totally unique answer to one of history's toughest questions. Okay, so let's set the stage. This was the big question, the central challenge for Jewish communities living in the Greek and Roman empires. I mean, think about it. You're a minority. You're surrounded by this huge, dominant culture. You're facing prejudice, and you're wrestling with that temptation to just, blend in and make life easier. So how do you stay true to yourself in a world like that? So, our first book offers a philosophical answer. For the community in Alexandria, which was pretty much the intellectual capital of the Greek world, the Wisdom of Solomon doesn't come at this problem with some big dramatic story. Nope, it lays out this really profound argument about justice and the meaning of life, basically meeting the culture on its own philosophical turf. Right, so this book was written specifically for that huge Jewish diaspora, all those communities living outside their homeland, in Alexandria, Egypt. We don't know who wrote it, but it's presented from the point of view of King Solomon, the wisest guy ever. And that audience, they really needed that kind of wisdom to figure out all the crazy social and intellectual pressures they were dealing with. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The book basically sets up this clash between two totally different worldviews. On one side, you have the ungodly, and get this, they might even be fellow Jews who've decided to assimilate. Their motto is basically, you only live once, so might makes right. But then you have the righteous who are like, no. Life isn't about what you can get right now, it's about an eternal purpose. And here is the book's brilliant solution. It's telling its readers, look, you might not get justice in this life. You might actually suffer. But the ultimate win isn't here on earth. It's in the promise of immortality, where God himself makes everything right. It's this powerful, powerful shift in perspective. All right, let's pivot to our next book, which builds a totally different kind of hope. Now, if you think you know the story of Esther, you are in for a huge surprise. The Greek version gives us a theological answer. It's kind of like a director's cut that puts God right back in the spotlight. Yeah, the best way to imagine it is like an extended edition of a movie you love. You've got the same basic plot, but it's packed with all these extra scenes and new details that completely change the feeling and the message of the whole story. And this chart just lays it out so clearly. The original Hebrew version of Esther is famous because it never, not once, mentions God. It's wild. But the Greek version, it's the complete opposite. It's overflowing with explicit mentions of God. It's got these long, detailed prayers from Esther and Mordecai, and it shows God directly intervening. There's zero ambiguity. These 6 editions are the real game changers here. They frame the entire story with a divine dream at the beginning and its interpretation at the end. They give us the terrifying text of the king's edict. And, maybe most importantly, they show us Esther and Mordecai desperately praying to God for help. This isn't just a story about a clever queen anymore. She's now a deeply pious hero. And all these editions, they give us a window into what the community was worried about. They spell out the threat of anti-Judaism. They show this incredibly intense piety. I mean, Esther is praying covered in ashes and dung. And they draw these really sharp ethnic lines, with Esther saying she detests being with a foreigner. The message couldn't be clearer. God is in control, and sticking to your own people is absolutely crucial. Okay, so we've gone from God's subtle hand in Greek Esther to a story where divine intervention is, well, anything but subtle. Our final book, 3 Maccabees, gives us the most cinematic answer you can imagine. Sometimes, philosophy and theology just don't cut it. Sometimes you just need a big, spectacular, undeniable miracle. First things first, I know what you're thinking, but despite the name, this book has absolutely nothing to do with the famous Maccabee revolt. It's a totally separate thing, a work of historical fiction set in Egypt with a different king from a different dynasty. Just think of it as a standalone summer blockbuster. And what a plot. You've got this Egyptian king, Ptolemy, who gets humiliated at the Jerusalem temple. So in a fit of rage, he orders every single Jew in Egypt to be rounded up and thrown into a stadium. The plan? To get a bunch of war elephants drunk and have them trample everyone to death. It is the ultimate nightmare scenario. But right when the elephants start to charge, bam! Angels appear out of thin air and turn the stampede back on the king's own army. And get this, it didn't just happen once. The story makes a huge point of telling us that God steps in to wreck the king's plan 3 different times. The solution here isn't some quiet hope or a hidden meaning. It is a loud, direct, overwhelming show of God's power. For a community that felt completely powerless, this story was the ultimate wish fulfillment. You know, what's so fascinating is that when you look at these really different books, a common theme pops up. The struggle wasn't just with outsiders. A big part of it was internal. Both Wisdom of Solomon and 3 Maccabees talk about this tension with other Jews who chose to assimilate, the apostates. It shows that one of the community's biggest fears was losing their identity, not just from outside pressure, but from the inside out. So when we put all 3 of these books side by side, what do we actually see? We see one community grappling with one massive struggle, how to survive as a minority, but coming up with these very different and equally powerful answers. Each book gave them a unique strategy for spiritual survival, right? The Wisdom of Solomon was like a philosophical anchor in a sea of confusing ideas. Greek Esther was a theological compass, reassuring them that God was always writing their story, even when he seemed invisible. And 3 Maccabees? That was the ultimate hope from miracle when things looked absolutely hopeless. So in the end, these weren't just bedtime stories or simple entertainment. They were active, powerful tools. This is how a community worked through its fears, drew its boundaries, debated what it meant to be who they were, and found the strength to just keep going. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Every community, every family, every single one of us has stories we tell ourselves to remember who we are and what we believe in. So the real question these ancient books leave with us is, what are the stories that are defining you?